We are on day 5 of the 12 days of Christmas garland ornaments. Today we are going to be demoing mittens. So there's a few different steps in this demo. For supplies, you need 2 pieces of fabric for the main section of the mitten, 2 pieces of fabric for the cuff of the mitten, and 2 pieces of batting. Again, check for that you have 1/2 inch space around the outside of the template for trimming. To position the cuff piece, you need to locate the seam line of the cuff between the cuff and the mitten, and place the 1/4 inch mark of the ruler on the seam line and then trim. So copy, and this is kind of faint on here, I'm sorry about that. So trace your template onto your fabric, and I fussy cut my mittens. So I wanted to center these little polar bears on my mittens. So I trace the template, and then here is that seam line. So I'm going to lay the 1/4 inch line of my ruler and trim just right above that. And then I'm going to lay my fabric for my cuff right on there so that I'm going to sew straight across that cuff line. So then I'll lay my cuff fabric down right along that cut piece that I just measured, and I'm going to stitch a 1/4 inch. And then once I've done that, I'm going to press the seam towards the cuff and then lay my template back down and trace around the cuff and retrace if I need to. So if I used a friction marker, which I did, and since I pressed the seam up, my template tracing disappeared. So I need to retrace this. And then again, now I'm going to have to layer my ornament pieces. On this one, I did a solid fabric background. I didn't do a background with the cuff. So a solid piece, right side facing out, 2 pieces of batting, and then this piece with the right side facing up, of course. Now, for an optional hanger, instead of using ribbon or some kind of cording, I made a binding, a double fold binding using this bias tape maker. So I cut my fabric 1.5 inches wide, put it through the bias tape maker, and then folded it again one more time, stitched on each side, and I have a 1/4 inch of hanger that I cut a 3-inch piece to use as the hanger. So that works real nicely as the hanger. So I have my 3-inch piece. I insert it on the corner of the mitten and secure that. Stitched around on my tracing line, leaving about a 1.5 inch opening so that I can stuff it. Then I stuffed it, sewed up my hole, and trimmed it, and there is my mitten. Now, as we did on the stockings, you could embroider names across the top here. And as I said before, on the back of my mitten, the back piece of my mitten, I used a full piece of fabric. I didn't make an individual cuff on that, just to save time, save extra labor. So there is my row of mittens. And if you notice, I did a scrap twisted rope for my garland piece, and it matches nicely. Enjoy making your mitten garlands, and we will see you next time. Thank you.